The last time I sat here with you, I had no idea how much was about to change. I started this channel in Arizona. That desert became the backdrop for 8 years of learning, growing, and creating. It's where I first held knitting needles, where I overcame my fear of being on camera, where I discovered this passion that would shape my life. Becoming a mother for the third time really shifted everything for me. It shifted where we lived, my days, my priorities, even the way I saw myself. I sort of lost myself, and not in a dramatic way, just in that quiet, everyday way that happens when you feel like you are your children's whole world. So I got to this place where I really needed to find my way back to who I was, and it turns out I had to find our home to do it. This is my grandma's house. Growing up, I'd visit for holidays and sleepovers. I never had a firm intention of making this our forever home because I wasn't sure if the timing would ever align. But I'd always held this secret dream of, maybe someday. That special someday ended up coming last November when we were able to purchase this home from my grandmother. So, to give some context to this massive transition, my daughter is the seventh generation of women to call this house a home. 7 generations. That means her great, 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 great grandmother's hands touched this same home and looked out these same windows, maybe even did handwork in some of the same rooms and spots that we are now. After a few weeks, something shifted. I needed to make this space ours. It really felt like grandma's house in the best way, but I also really needed to start feeling like this was our home now. There was carpet in every room of the house, and I knew there were 100-year-old wooden floors just waiting to be uncovered. So as I uncovered these floors and ripped up the carpet, I kept thinking about all the hands that had worked here before mine. My great-grandfather laid these wood floors, and there was just so much to do, sorting through dishes and linens and keepsakes, and I really got to take my time. Most of all, it's just been a total joy that I have been able to completely immerse myself in this renovation, in landing into this new home. We borrowed a tiller and created a huge vegetable garden and flower beds. I grew literally thousands of plants from seed as a grand experiment to see what might stick. Now, the renovations are mostly completed with a few floors left to sand and finish in the upstairs in our bedrooms, and just a few more rooms to paint. We're growing again this huge garden that's been taking up my time this summer, and I'm taking breaks with knitting and getting back into my own creative rhythm and keeping you guys updated again. And as I settled into these rooms that have held so many stories, I realized my own story was ready to continue, and I want to update you on everything that I've been doing while I've been gone. While I was away, there were 2 sweater projects that I finished that I am so proud of and wanted to share some of my notes with you in case you ever decide to knit these patterns, or if you've been drawn to these patterns or these yarns, because I have quite a pricey sweater here and then an incredibly budget friendly. I used my scrap yarn for this entire sweater. So I'll start with the Loom sweater from Sorry Norland. This had been in my knitting queue for a while, and I saw a lot of people knitting this up last year. I absolutely adore anything floral color work. These big flowers just really do it for me in this sweater. I would love to knit this again. I've seen so many variations of different colors. I specifically love like a cranberry red and oatmeal for winter. I just decided to use up some scrap yarn that I had for this project. When I realized that I had similar colors and yarns that weren't quite I didn't quite hit gauge on this. This is a bit bigger and wider than maybe I would try to go for again, but I don't mind the somewhat oversized worsted weight feel of this sweater. And I really love wearing this over a collared shirt because the yarns I use, the charcoal here is knit in the Andes wool, and then the which I used for my Arizona winter jacket. I had some skeins left over from that got me through this project. And then the white or the cream is Lion brand Touch of Alpaca. So it's actually a bulky weight that I used for the white, but I don't really care. So the yoke did end up just a little bit bigger than gauge, but again, I just didn't really mind. Now, one mistake I feel like I made with mine is something just got a little bit funny with the ribbing. I think I should have gone down a needle size. My ribbing just feels kind of balloony and a little bit sloppy on this sweater. It's not a huge deal. I've even considered maybe trying to sew it down because I just don't love the way that this collar, can you guys kind of see how it's bubbled up there? I really wish that was just a bit different. Otherwise, I'm really happy with the way that this knit up. It is a little bit wider and boxier than anything else that I own, but I really love that I have this as a layering option. We were up in Chicago this past winter and it was cold. That city is cold in the winter and windy, and I had this on thankfully, and it really helped. It is a warm sweater, so I would, winters in Illinois can be that way, and I would love to do an oatmeal for the main body and a cranberry red for the flowers. I think that would just be so pretty, especially if I could find like an oatmeal that's like a little bit tweedy and has little flecks of browns and dark charcoals in with that oatmeal color. That would just be like perfection for me. I would really love to knit this another time. It was such a fun knit, and one I highly recommend if you have knit sweaters before and you're ready for your first two-stranded colorwork sweater. This pattern is a really awesome option. I know at least I feel like a lot of people say that, but it's true. It's just, it's really great. I kind of wish this would have been one of my first colorwork projects. I took on some that were kind of crazy for my first ones, and that was a joy. That was really lovely. Now, the next sweater, this is BRUME by Andrea Mowry, this pattern, and the yarn is Farmer Daughter's fiber, the alpaca DK, the Odang, the fuzzy one. You guys, this is my favorite thing to wear that I have ever knit by far. I lived in this January, February, parts of March. I love it. I love this sweater. I love this yarn. Now, there are some notes for this sweater. The pattern, for me, it's perfect. What drew me was this neckline. The way that this sits, and it's a little bit wider and it's not close to your neck, but there's that look of structure right up around, like framing your face, is gorgeous. And I love the raglan cut. I love the drape of this yarn. This pattern is wonderful. Now, I don't know what other yarns I would use to knit this sweater in. I should take a look through Ravelry because the fit and the neckline for me, this is the perfect January piece. It's also not too hot, which I have a problem with. I don't like being too warm. I'd rather be just a little bit chilled and like wanting to grab a blanket than feeling like I'm hot in what I'm wearing. And I never felt overheated in this, even, I don't know, just in moments where maybe I was wearing this and the seasons were changing a little bit, because it really does breathe pretty beautifully. It's just, I don't know, guys, it's by far my favorite thing to wear that I've ever made by hand. A big piece of that, I believe, is the yarn. I think this yarn is not easy to work with. However, it's worth it. It really I had to take my time getting it spun up into cakes, because it almost like spider webs out of the skein. And it's just it's not difficult to work with, but I did find myself just needing to be mindful when I was first starting out and like casting it on and getting it going. It's different. However, once you get used to it and your eyes almost like adjust to the fuzziness, it's wonderful, and it is worth the finished product. Absolutely. Now mine it needs to be washed. I've worn this a ton. And I'm in love. I will have to look up the color of this yarn that I went with. It's an unusual name. I will put it in the description and maybe pop it on the screen here. I have ordered another kit of this yarn, a Colorwork pattern, but this same yarn from Farmer Daughter Fibers. And I'll share that, once I get those wound up and cast on, I'll share how this yarn works up in Colorwork for you. But I am sold, and it is just, the fabric is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and such an elegant look. I was able to wear this with leggings, or I could dress it up a little bit with like a nice pair of jeans and some boots. But most of the time I had my leggings on and I'd throw this on and I would just be around the house. And it just gave me this sense of feeling like I look really put together, but I'm wearing my pajamas. It's just, I can't say enough good things about this sweater. And I would 100% knit this again, like in just maybe a different color of this same yarn, but the same pattern. It's a staple. And I am so excited that I have like found that. I wouldn't say this is a staple. This is like a Christmas sweater. This is like, I'm going to Chicago and want to like put together a look and be super, super warm. This was not something I'm wearing every day. This is like, I wore this twice a week, kind of like over the winter. Now, maybe if I did this in a different yarn and it had a different drape, I might feel differently. I mean, this is wool and acrylic, so it's not breathing a lot. It's super, super warm. But these are projects that I will do my best to get Ravelry updated to with some of my nitty gritty notes on this. But the pattern, this Broome pattern, I just can't say enough good things about it. I think Andrea Mowry is a genius. I didn't get it, and I think I've said this in videos before, I just didn't get the hype around Andrea Mowry at first. When I was a new knitter, I'd look at her patterns and just be like, okay. But then I started knitting her patterns and the fit and it's very next level. It's very elevated. I'm very excited to knit a few more garments from her because I'm just so impressed with the fit in that BRUME sweater specifically. So A+ on that one. It's so nice to finally have something. And I have plenty of knits that I do wear, but that's the first one that's been like I can wear that one every single day. And it's super, super exciting for me. For many months, I felt really disconnected from this thread and from this knitting community, but coming to this home, to this house, and to this work, all of this rebirth and renewal that's been going on, I'm realizing the thread was never broken. It was just waiting for me to pick it up again. There are just the most incredible things on the horizon I cannot wait to share with you, but for now, I'm grateful to be home in every sense of the word, and I will see you in the next video.